So why compare a Tudor with a Rolex? They live in far different price segments. I know they're similar looking, but they're pretty different watches. They're different products. And the type of people that gravitate toward Tudor, they're a little bit different than those that gravitate toward Rolex. That's something that I've noticed as an owner of both brands. I've noticed more enthusiasts gravitate toward Tudor versus Rolex. Rolex seems to be that brand that a lot of watch collectors want to try, but not everybody enjoys the experience of wearing a Rolex, of using a Rolex, and that's probably due to the fact that it's seen as a status symbol, as a luxury symbol. It's very hard to come by at retail. They sell for higher on the pre-owned market when it comes to most models, not with the Sea Dweller. The Sea Dweller is actually a little bit less expensive used than it is brand new. But really, the two brands feel different, even though the profits go to the same organization. So I think this is an interesting comparison, and I'm excited to make it. Full transparency though, this Rolex Sea Dweller, this is a watch that I purchased. I wear this on a regular basis. I absolutely adore it. And this Tudor is on loan from Exquisite Timepieces, which is my recommended Tudor AD. They're a family-owned AD in Florida. They have a huge selection of Tudor. They carry 60 different luxury brands. They're an awesome place to buy a new watch. So if you're shopping Tudor, I recommend them, and a link is below. Now let's talk about what the Tudor does really well. I like the fact that this is more under the radar. This feels more toolish, more sporty. It's far lighter with that grade 2 titanium. And because this has fixed lugs, you can only wear this on a strap, whether it's fabric or NATO or a rubber strap. Tudor does include a complimentary rubber strap with the FXD purchase. This is lighter on the wrist, and so it does disappear, but at the same time, it's a fairly tall wearing experience. I know the watch itself is thinner than what you find on the Sea Dweller, but it sits prouder on the wrist just due to the fact that you have to pass through that strap on the base or underneath the fixed lugs, and so it does sit proud. You might like the fact that this feels more toolish, more sporty, more austere. This feels like it was built to go out boating or go camping or wear it while you're working on a pet project in the garage or something like that. It feels very sporty, and that's a great thing. The other thing this Tudor does so well, in fact, nicer than the Rolex, is the lume. Now, I don't know if Tudor's using BGW9 or if they're actually using chromalite, but they're not allowed to say they're using chromalite. I don't know. But in low light conditions, it's so potent. And there's more luminous compound here on the Tudor than what you find on the Rolex with chromalite. So I would give the nod in the lume department to the Tudor, and that's a real exciting thing as a watch collector. The other thing with the diver is you need a fantastic feeling bezel, and the Tudor has a fantastic feeling bezel. Very nice traction, good amount of torque needed to turn the bezel, very satisfying clicks in between positions. So I think that's a very positive thing. And then lastly, this has an awesome COSC certified movement. It's similar in performance with the Rolex, even though it doesn't have some of the same kind of fancy patents and different things. It's not finished to the same degree as the Rolex, but it is very similar in terms of performance, in terms of beat frequency and power reserve and day-to-day accuracy. So I think that's a good thing. Now, what does the Rolex do really well? This one, I have to get it out of the way here. It's the nicer watch. It's better in almost every department outside of the lume and outside of being able to fly under the radar. But you expect it to be because it costs 3 times as much as the Tudor Pelagos. And so it better be the nicer watch. And it feels like the nicer watch when it comes to the fit, the finish, the bezel action. This has one of the best bracelets in the business. This has one of, if not the best adjustable clasp in the business. This feels more traditional. It has some more pop and polish and pizzazz to it, even though it still feels like a toolish watch. So this has a slightly reflective, intense black dial. This has white gold hands and applied markers. This has platinum PVD when it comes to the indexing found within the ceramic bezel. This has over 1,000 meters more water resistance than what you find on the FXD. And this does have those nice things within the movement, like the crown energy escapement, the Paraflex shock absorbers, the more traditional finish or upscale decoration. I like the fact that this has a chronometer certification, the same as the Tudor, but Rolex also goes the extra mile and they fine tune it to a higher degree in-house, and they call that a superlative chronometer. So this is accurate to a window of +2 or -2 seconds per day, as opposed to -4 to +6 seconds per day on the Tudor. And that does make a difference. I know we're only talking about a number of seconds every day, but you know what? Those seconds matter to watch collectors. I know I like looking down and seeing a spot-on movement and then doing it again a week later and rarely needing to adjust the time. And that's my experience with Rolex. It's always more consistent. I like so many things about this Rolex. I like the bracelet. I like the fit. I do like the fact that this does feel thinner, even though it might not be thinner. There's only a difference of, 2.3 millimeters in total height. But because this sits flat on your wrist with no fabric strap underneath, it feels thinner. So I like the traditional nature of the Rolex. I like the fact that it's a little bit larger and that it has some of the pop and polish. Now, that said, this watch, it shows the wear and tear a little bit more. When you have a grade 2 titanium watch like the Tudor, it's easier to scratch. But those scratches, those scuffs, those marks, they seem to blend in with the material to a greater degree, and they don't stand out as much as brushed or polished 904L stainless steel, which is very desaturated. So, I mean, there is some give and take there. Obviously, a huge difference in terms of price, but a big difference in terms of feel. If you want something less pretentious, go with the Tudor. If you want something more prestigious, you go with the Rolex. If you don't care about name brand recognition amongst watch collectors or the average person, I think you could go with both. I think they're different feeling enough to where they could be enjoyed in one watch collection. Where the Tudor, when you want something lighter, when you want something that's more austere looking or industrial, and where the Rolex when you want something heavier, maybe a little bit more eye-catching, just different feelings. So yes, I do think they could be enjoyed in one watch collection. And I'll end with this one thought. If you were to go out and ask the average person if they've heard of Rolex, chances are they would. They'd recognize that as a status symbol, as a luxury watch, as an expensive product. If you were to ask them if they knew what a Tudor was, they'd probably look at you and think maybe you're a bit too into English history or something like that. Let me know what you think about this comparison. Thanks for watching today. Reach out with questions, and I'll see you next time.